Hey guys, Ram here, Dana Hacker. Namaste. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you be. This video today, whether you're vegan or you're not, it's going to be a great informative video. I'm going to teach you today how to get your omega-3s without fish oil. We'll talk about why do you want to avoid fish oil. I will also refer you to a few other resources because it's very important that you have, one, the correct ratio of omega fatty acids, and two, that you're getting an omega-3 fatty acid that very few people are talking about. And you can get it from a fish oil supplement. And for those who are watching, if you want to know which one I recommend that I personally take, hit me up with a comment below or reach me on social media at Omega-3 or at DNA Hacker Secrets on Instagram. And I'll be more than happy to share that with you. I don't get any money from this. It's just giving you some useful information. Okay, so there are a few options for omega acids. More often, people will eat fish or they will take fish oil supplements, but there are a few problems with this. And I'll mention a few of them later on below. Mainly has to do with toxicity. That the marine ecosystem has become our personal dump yard, and the product that we get out of the marine ecosystem is actually very toxic nowadays. And so the way that you prepare fish oil is also an environmental issue. We are overfishing the marine ecosystem, and so you have to be very mindful of that. I've talked about this before. To master the art of being in balance, you have to be in sync with nature. So you cannot do things that encroach on nature, that tip it out of balance. So that's something that is called eco-wellness, and considering products that are not like fish oil harming the ecosystem is important. And two, you're going to see that the option that you have actually goes to the source itself. It goes to where the fish actually get their omegas rather than get it from a secondary source. It's the same issue with the meat industry, where we are growing these animals at enormous rates, and it's having a huge impact on the environment, on climate change, with greenhouse gas emissions, with enormous plots of land that are being used, a lot of waste management issues. And we are getting the food, the nutrients from a second source rather than get it straight from the source, which is a plant. We're getting from an animal that eats the plant. And so the farther away we are from the plant, the less healthy is the food for you. And this has been supported by many lines of evidence. Okay, so the source that I'm going to be talking about today is algal oil, and more importantly, carrageen free. If you actually go on Amazon, let's say, and you Google algal oil, I would say probably all of the options there have carrageenan, and you want to research carrageenan so you can see some of the health issues, particularly with the digestive tract. And so it has some kind of inflammatory, damaging effects that you want to be mindful of. It maybe isn't that much of an issue, because when you take algal oil, you're just taking maybe a couple capsules and maybe really small amounts of carrageenan. But carrageenan becomes more relevant, let's say, in like almond milk or something like that, vegan milks, where they used to add them, but you'll see that all vegan milks now do not have that carrageenan, because this is actually a health concern. So you'll notice that vegan algal oils have carrageenan, but again, if you hit me up with a comment below, you say you want that, and I'll send you to where you can actually access the information. And if you reach me at Omega-3 or some of the links below, as well as DNA Hacker Secrets on Instagram, I can help you. All right. So something important to note is that most Americans do not get the daily recommended amount. I've done some articles and a previous video. I'll put the link of the video on this at the end of this video, so that you can actually learn a little bit about how to balance the omega ratios. It's very important, because if you're vegan and you're watching this video, one of the things that you often find are higher incidence of stroke, some blood-related conditions, because of the fact that those omegas are not balanced, and it may tip you towards having a blood that is a little bit thinner than it should be. So you want to really balance the omegas, and I'm not talking today about omega-6s and 9s. Those are found from other sources that will not be discussed today, and you really want to be able to balance those. If you watch that previous video and you go to medium.com, the link will be below, and you read that article, you'll learn how to balance your omegas for getting that perfect state of balance and getting your health to the optimum state. Remember, you want brain food, and omega-3s are brain food. You want to get these omega fatty acids at the right ratio. All right, so a vegan diet is often provides little, unless you of course go to these sources I mentioned below, where I teach how to get your omegas from plant-based sources. But these plant-based sources are often mainly alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. These names are a little challenging. Eicosapentaenoic acid, docosahexaenoic acid, and then we have this one that nobody's talking about, which I'll talk about later, which is docosapentaenoic acid. So it's similar to EPA, but it has the docoso, the D part, before. And so we'll talk about all of these shortly. So the one that plant sources mainly have is alpha-linolenic acid, which your body can convert in small amounts to these other two. These have been shown to have a number of health benefits in the brain, in the heart, anti-inflammatory, etc. They have a number of health benefits. I think in that article that I mentioned, I talk about this. So that alpha-linolenic acid actually provides less anti-inflammatory effects and smaller boosts to brain and heart health. The ones that you want, which typically people get from fish oil, is the EPA and the DHA. Fish also has the DPA, but you'll see that the algal oil, that I'll be discussing some of its benefits later on, actually does have DPA in very significant amounts. Fish like, let's say, salmon may have more, but again, you have to be very wary of where you're getting this. Is it conservation? Is it sustainable? Is it harming the ecosystem? And so at Rama's Rooted Tree, at all my events, the Hacker Secrets or Art of Stress-Free Living, I'm always endorsing this reconnection with nature, respecting nature, because I have found that it is at the heart of being in balance. You want to raise your vibration above disease, suffering, pain, all the things that are heavy and dense, the bacteria and the viruses. There is a way to do it, and you have to start from within, start here, start in the heart, reconnect with nature, and make the right decisions that keep you in balance. All right, so it has been found, however, that even if without vegan algal oil, vegans, if you test their blood levels of these other omegas are actually very comparable to fish oil or fish eaters, fish oil consumers or fish eaters. And the reason being is that the enzymes that convert alpha-linolenic acid into EPA or DHA are upregulated in that vegan. So the body starts to change itself to adapt, and therefore if you test vegans, they often are okay at that level with those omega fatty acids. All right, so why algal oil over fish oil? I've mentioned some of them already. Algal oil is non-GMO. It's safe for the marine ecosystem. So these are usually farmed, harvested, they're usually organic, they're low in, I mentioned it somewhere here, they're low in heavy metals and mercury and PCBs, which are often found in fish oil because of the way that the fish oil is harvested. The fish oil, they literally vacuum these small important fish from the marine ecosystem. They're at the base of the food chain. These are the small fish that are going to eat the phytoplankton, the algae. And so they're getting their omegas from what? From the algae. Why not get it straight from the source? You don't harm the ecosystem. It's eco-friendly. And it's going to be free from ocean-borne, not toxins, pollutants and contaminants such as these heavy metals or mercury, PCBs. They will give you all of these omegas, particularly the ones that you want, EPA, DHA, and of course DPA, at high amounts. And of course, it's sustainable and conservational, which again, concept of eco wellness. If you have not watched my eco wellness videos, go back. I think I did 2 of them, and they're very important. If you can shift your perspective and start to live more in line with nature and start to become an advocate, a leader, it really is going to start to raise your vibration and change you from within. That change in vibration, as I teach in DNA Hacker Secrets, which I'm working on the book right now, and there's going to be a mastermind, a Facebook group, a members area with private content modules so that you can learn how to live stress and disease free. I teach there the importance of keeping your vibration just right, raising your vibration. You've heard that concept before, maybe it's a new age type of concept, but it actually relates to health. The bacteria and viruses that people expose themselves to is because their vibration is such that allows them to be in contact with that. You actually can rise above it and become free of disease altogether. I promise you that. I am living testament. I have experienced directly. I've seen the entire transition from disease to disease free and what's in between. And I can teach you all if you're interested. All right. So you're going to get all your essential fatty acids. It's sustainable. It's free from pollutants. Everything is sounding really good, right? And then as you'll see, because it contains all the key omegas, it's going to support your brain health, your skin, your eyes, your heart, your joints, your immune system. This is very important. And if you are one of those many Americans that are not getting the daily recommended doses, as most people are not just of omegas, but of a number of things. So when I work with clients, I work with clinics. We develop, I working with this clinic to develop a holistic program. What do I do there? I teach the clients, and we teach with other mental health professionals, the importance of getting a blood panel workup so that we can determine what's high and what's low, and we can balance everything out and bring it to the right levels. So fish oil, if you're not aware of this, I mentioned this, comes from forage fish, really small fish. They're at the base of the ecosystem, marine ecosystem. They're extremely important. And if we remove them, these industries go and just without regard to the balance of the ecosystem, they just remove them all. So by consuming them, you're contributing to this problem. You could try to find a sustainably sourced version of this, but I'm not sure that fish oil has the DPA as maybe eating actual fish does. And so, and of course I mentioned that these forage fish are integral to the marine ecosystem, and they are shipped from very long distances. So now again, we're talking about local versus long distance, and this is involving again encroaching on on Mother Nature, on the environment, because it's requiring a big boat to go out there to get the fish, to travel, to transport. There's heat processing. That heat processing generates damaging chemicals. Remember, every time you heat something, you alter it chemically. Your body's chemistry, you need to feed it the right chemistry. The right chemistry that talks to your biochemistry the right way, that talks to your genes the right way. There is an interaction at an epigenetic level between your genes and the food that you consume. If I'm not feeding my body the right way, my genetics are going to be altered. What I'm getting out of my DNA is not going to be the right thing, and it's going to be conducive towards disease. I'll be talking more about that in the DNA Hacker Secrets book, and I've talked about it in my DNA hacking videos. There's 2 of them, part 1 and 2, if you want to check them out. All right, so go to my channel, DNA Hacker Secrets, and you'll see them on the list. It was a few months ago. And so algal oil, I mentioned, is rich in omegas, and it contains this one, docosapentaenoic acid, DPA, which is 10 times more efficient than EPA at reducing inflammation. So it's a more potent anti-inflammatory and has a more potent effect on heart and brain health. So this is really the one that is often not talked about. A lot of times you see they focus on EPA and DHA. You really want them all, including alpha-linoleic acid, including omega-6 and omega-3s. I talk about how to balance these in a previous video. I'll put the link at the end, and the article on medium.com, you can get the link below. And so, in conclusion, this algal oil is better for you and the planet, and of course it's going to contain all those omega-3s. So get it from the source rather than go to the intermediary. We need to start going back to a more natural diet, a diet that is actually in balance with Mother Nature and that keeps you centered, not towards the extremes. Decisions that you make actually push you to the extremes. So if you want to remain in balance and raise your vibration, you have to make the right decisions. Be more eco-conscious, be more sustainable. And of course, I mentioned at the end, I will be talking about balancing omega ratios, the oil that I will recommend if you hit me with a comment below, or if you go to my website, Rama's Rooted Tree, or if you go to social media at the Hacker Secrets on Instagram. I have one that has MCT oil as well, medium chain triglycerides, and below you can read an article on that I wrote about medium chain triglycerides, MCT oil. You can get it from coconut oil as well, which tends to be at least 50 to 60% MCT oil. It's very good for your health. It's one of the few saturated fats that are actually good for your health, and of course it's plant-based. All right, I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. If you have any questions, please hit some comments below. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Take care. Namaste.